Today I wanted to talk about a story that many think they know. Three men that were thrown into a blazing furnace by the king of Babylon, and they walked out without a single burn. Now, most Christians know that story, but almost none of them know what actually happened inside the fire. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, three Hebrew exiles serving in Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar built a golden statue 9 stories tall and commanded every official in the empire to bow down when the music played. They stood, though. See, most Christians know that part too. It's the part about what comes next that almost nobody's ever been shown. So let's start with what they said to the king's face. Our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from a burning fiery furnace. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods. But if not, did you catch those words? 3 words most people read right past. They did not say, God will save us, so we are not afraid. They said, God is able to save us, and even if he does not, we still won't bow. That is not faith in a rescue. That is faith in a person, faith that holds even if the fire wins. Now watch what the fire actually did. Nebuchadnezzar ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than normal. The flames burned so fiercely that the soldiers who carried the 3 men to the opening were killed by the heat alone. Yeah, the strongest men in Babylon's army died just getting near it. And the 3 men fell in, bound, tied hand and foot. Then the king looked into the furnace, and what he saw made him leap to his feet. Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? Look, I see 4 men, loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Count what just changed. They went in 3, there were now 4. They went in bound, they were now loose. They went in falling, they were now walking. And notice who saw him first. Not a prophet, not a priest, a pagan king who had just built an idol to himself, reaching for words he did not have. In the original language, he says the 4th looks like a son of the gods. For 2,000 years, believers have looked at that 4th figure and seen the Son of God himself, walking in a furnace long before Bethlehem. Now look at the detail almost everyone misses. The fire burned something that night. It burned the ropes. The men were untouched. Their hair was not singed. Their clothes did not even smell like smoke. The officials gathered around afterward and inspected them and found that the fire had no power over their bodies. The only thing God allowed the flames to destroy was the thing that bound them. They did not crouch in a corner waiting for it to end. They walked. In the middle of the fire, they were keeping company. And here's the part that changes like how you read every trial in your own life. When Nebuchadnezzar called them out, 3 men stepped through the opening. The 4th man never came out. He's not seen standing beside the king. He's not seen in the crowd. He appears in one place in the entire chapter, inside the furnace. The place everyone else would call God-forsaken is the only place he shows up visibly. Around that same generation of exiles, the prophet Isaiah carried a promise from God. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon you. That's what he said. Not if you walk through the fire, when. The promise was never that the furnace would not come. The promise was about who would be standing in it. The miracle of Daniel 3 was never that 3 men were saved from the fire. It is that there was a 4th man walking in it. And most Christians have read it their entire lives as a children's story. The roots. Once you have those roots, the Bible you thought you knew becomes something you have never actually encountered before. The fiery furnace is just one chapter. There are 1,000 more moments waiting in the pages you've probably already read. But did you know, for example, that when Daniel was thrown to the lions, a stone was laid over the mouth of the den and sealed with the king's own signet, and that a righteous man sealed into a place of death under a royal seal was found alive at dawn? Centuries before, another stone was sealed over another tomb. And did you know that after the furnace, Nebuchadnezzar sent a decree to every nation and language in his empire, declaring that his God had done what the men's God has done, making a pagan king the first man to publish that testimony to the known world. Context changes everything, every single time. Nebuchadnezzar turned from himself as a god and looked to the God that saved the men. The Bible's not confusing because it's unclear. It's confusing because we are reading it without foundation that made it clear to the people it was first written for. The exiles in Babylon knew what that furnace meant. They knew what it cost to stand when the music played. They heard, "But if not," and understood it was the bravest sentence ever spoken to a king. We read it as a children's story and turn the page. However, if you have ever walked through a fire of your own and wondered where God was, if you've ever read a familiar story and sensed there was something underneath it that you just couldn't quite reach, if you've ever wondered what you would find in God's Word if someone just gave you the roots first, this is what you've been looking for. God did not put a fourth man in that furnace by accident. He never does anything by accident. Do not let a lack of content be the first thing that keeps you from knowing who is standing in the fire with you. Get closer to God by actually understanding His Word. Not just the familiar parts, all of it, the whole story. This is why being part of a Bible-based church and joining a Bible study is so important. This is the type of understanding we will teach at Armor of God Bible Church, which is starting August 1st. You can join us at 1380 Ammon Street in Lakewood at 5:30 p.m. If you seek the meaning of the Bible and how it applies to your life today, this may be the church you're looking for. Check us out at www.armorofgodbiblechurch.org. See you soon.